know this. This is our second go. All right, so we got two. His name fucked it all up. Habibi. Where does that name come from?
Habibi. So Habibi is just Arabic for my love. It's like a term of endearment, but you can use it for something that's not romantic. Habibti is like the female version. And honestly, that just came out by accident. I was just talking to Sean one day, and I was like, Habibi, let me ask you something. And then I just didn't even think twice about it. And then he like let me finish my question, and then at the end he goes, "Did you just call me Habibi?" And I was like, "Yes, I did. Everyone's Habibi." And then he just laughed, and then just kept going.
Did he already know what it was?
I think he didn't. I think I explained it. He just knew that was some.
He'd never heard it before and was like, "Hey, what the fuck is that?"
He was like, "What does this mean?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just hard to tell with Sean because like he's like mystic.
Yeah.
He just be knowing some stuff.
He's mysterious as fuck.
That.
Yeah, he's mysterious as shit.
I don't know when he's being serious or if he's trolling me half the time.
Yeah, or how long he's been alive or centuries he's been around. It's like
he's actually just Benjamin Button.
Could be a vampire.
I think he's been his age.
He could be a vampire.
He's a vampire. Yeah, that was my next thought.
Yeah.
You think Tori's a vampire too, or no? She doesn't know. Nobody knows. I think that's the point of being a vampire.
Well, this is what you asked.
You can tell.
Is this your first true love? If it's not, then he's a vampire.
Then
and he's been around, and she isn't yet.
I think you just have to hold a mirror and just see if it.
Maybe you accidentally do that when you're around him. I'm not bringing.
Is that what happens with vampires?
There ain't no way.
Brings a mirror to the seminar.
Hey, buddy, can I just get you to look at this? What do you see?
I mean, that makes sense. Some days I walk in like the night after like a big dinner, and I probably had a lot of garlic, and I swear those are the days he's probably the meanest to me. You know what I mean?
What's up?
Or you notice like he just avoids you. Secretly, you have bad breath, but it's like
he's
you
always
think he's
in the dark part of the room. He's never in the sunlight.
Yeah,
makes total sense, dude.
It's true.
He's gonna
real
tricky.
tricky.
My ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show you
real
a vampire.
tricky.
Yeah, I think there are some vampires out there though.
You think so?
Tom Cruise. Jared Leto.
I don't know, man. I think
Tell
they're
me
doing.
Jared Leto's
I think
not
they're.
a vampire.
I think they're eating like babies and stuff. I don't think they're
Well,
vampires.
that's Scientology. That's just what they do.
Yeah,
or
I think that's just
that fucking uses his son's blood. You know that guy?
Joe Biden.
Not that guy.
not that guy.
This guy kind of looks like Jared Leto, but like he's spending all this crazy amount of money to keep himself young.
Oh, Brian Johnson.
He's like flushing his son's blood through himself or something.
So he's like 40, but he's supposed to.
I didn't know he had his son's blood in him. That's kind of sus.
Yeah, he's like
using younger blood, and apparently in rats it works that way. Like if you
to make him younger.
If you use younger blood.
That's
from
wild.
A younger rat and an older rat, it like helps rejuvenate the inside of their bodies.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's become like his mission, isn't it? He's like a 40-something-year-old dude, and he's trying to be like a 20-something-year-old.
He literally looks like American Psycho.
He kind of looks like boyish.
That's true.
In a sense, it's kind of weird. He is a cool guy, though. I will give him that. He's not like a Liver King, where he's like kind of a douche.
Brother, Liver King looks kind of rough right now.
Well, he's been through the trenches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The social media trenches.
Haven't seen an update on him in a while. To
Dude,
be real,
I think he looks even bigger now.
Well, you got to double down.
What is he?
What are you going to do? Get off the sauce now?
Yeah.
Never, dude.
Yeah, dude. He's just got to double down until he dies from a heart attack. That's the move.
I just feel like if you're going to come out and be like, okay, yeah, you got me, maybe start eating other things too, like
vegetables.
Yeah.
Vegetables. Throw some veggies in there.
This is your opportunity, because if you're like stuck and you're like, man, I'm kind of over balls.
My cholesterol's through the roof.
Yeah.
This is the time.
What his cholesterol is. It's probably like crazy if he's just eating like bull testicles all day on sauce.
I wonder if it's always been like from fresh sources. Could you be high in bad ways with? I know there's good and bad cholesterol, but is that just due to like processing over time? Like when it comes to food, like I know seed oils are a big bad thing, but like, dude, sunflower seeds. Have you popped one in your mouth lately? Flavored ones.
Well,
brother, that's a road trip snack that you can't get away from.
What's the honey barbecue ones? Is that what they are?
I actually don't do them anymore, but I will defend them. They're a good vibe.
Is it that flavor though?
It's barbecue, which they went out of stock for like 2 years. They just started coming back. I don't know. If
you've been keeping an eye on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got new logoing. Didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Well.
I don't know.
Well, sunflower or seed oil is really not that bad for you. I know everyone says
I
that.
want to have a debate. I want you and Cam to just like.
So here's the thing: there's no like one food that is bad for you. And just to like preface with is like I went to school for nutrition and got my bachelor's degree. So it's like,
Oh,
and
I'm
I worked
not
as a nutritionist.
defending.
No, I just want to make sure when people
I'm
listen to me, I'm not just
stupid.
like some bro.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's just so easy for people to just like talk confidently,
Yeah.
and like in this day and age, and people are like, cool, or like they just are like, or completely ignorant, and they're not going to believe you regardless. You can show them all the information, and they don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Or you say something that they enjoy and they like, and they're like, cool. And like, there's it's just confirmation bias nowadays, because you can do that. There's just so many echo chambers and like on the internet. I mean, have you gone on Reddit and just gone into like these different echo chambers? It's pretty crazy. Like there's people who are like have been doing carnivore for like 4 or 5 months, and they're only eating meat, and like their cholesterol's just going through the roof, and they're like like having skin issues, like going blind, and they're like, when are the health benefits supposed to come in? And it's like they kind of got scammed, to be honest. Like there's no like, you can't just take out huge groups out of your diet, food groups, and just expect to not have some nutrient deficiency or some issue or disordered eating pattern, because like you can really have everything if you just have it in moderation and you just understand like the use of food. Like seed oil in general is not healthy for you. It's not a nurturing food. It's just the most calorically dense food you can get, and it adds like texture and to food. Oil is the most calorically dense food.
That's wild. I didn't know that. That was a question I had.
Think about it, because a gram of carbs and protein are 4 calories each.
Yeah.
Whereas a gram of fat is 9 calories each. So it's naturally more calorically dense. And then oil, think about like 2 tablespoons of oil. It's got like somewhere between 100 and 200 calories.
Yeah.
And like 2 tablespoons really isn't that much. Like when you start cooking, I mean, you know this. Like, it's not a lot. The restaurants, they use so much oil.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, so like
you go through a
alone-
half a gallon of oil
You're
a
trying to
night.
find that bottom of that bottle.
Yeah.
And that's like 600 calories in just oil.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not counting like the actual food. And like you probably know this, like when you cook without oil, it tastes so different.
Yeah, no, it doesn't, and it doesn't work most of the time.
Exactly.
You have to have it.
like a burger, like you need
Yeah.
that fat because
Yeah.
it's a textural thing. It
Yeah.
helps carry that flavor.
Yeah.
So when people like take that out, they're just like, wow, this sucks. But it's like, you know, there's other ways around it. But fat in general is not bad for you. It's just you have to be mindful about like it is more calorically dense, and also too like it slows digestion. So if you have like a fat heavy meal before training, you're gonna feel like crap. But if you have a carb heavy meal, which goes through your digestion like that, and then you can have it for energy, you feel great. So I usually keep like my fats in my meals later for dinner time when I'm like starving from training like 2-3 times that day, and I've probably, you know, had a bunch of carbs, had a bunch of protein, but like I just still want something. I want to be satiated. You know, having like avocados or something like yogurt, you know, something that has some fat or some nuts, like that's gonna satiate you better and keep you fuller. But like having your day start off with like, you know, a bunch of cheese and some sausage and stuff like that, you know, it's probably gonna be generally fattier.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with having those foods every now and then. I literally just had hot dogs earlier with Pat, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Sometimes
I started.
you have to, dog.
I mean, you know, we're traveling.
Sometimes you
brother.
got to.
But most of my diet is, you know, whole grains, fruits, veggies, lean meats, eggs, stuff that you consider healthy. But it's like, you know, I'll have a hot dog, I'll have pizza. It's fine. I'm just not gonna base my whole diet around that or my identity.
Does that?
Food.
Do you find that whenever you do eat stuff like that, like hot dogs or whatever it is, does that mess you up? Like your stomach or your body, you feel different after it?
A
Or?
little bit. Like it's definitely. I've gotten better about it. I used to just be a trash can, so I could just eat.
Yeah.
So like for reference, I went to Steak and Shake one time when I was probably like 19 years old, and they have a 7x7 burger.
What is
So
that?
7 beef patties, 7 slices of cheese, and
Fuck
fries, and I ate
that.
all that, and I was like, you know, chump change. Give me another one.
Bro,
Put it on
that's
the tab.
insane.
And they were
I
like,
mean, how big are we talking?
it's probably this
Thick
big.
boy?
Stack, bro.
God
Stacked, 7
damn.
burgers. And then my friends.
Where is this
God,
at?
he
Steak and
said,
Shake.
what?
It's not
That's
even
a
on the
steak
menu.
and shake?
Yeah, it's not on the menu. You just ask for it.
Oh.
So
Wow.
and then I
Big
was
boy
like,
secret menu.
yeah, and then
real.
I was like, give me another. And so I had 2 7x7. So I had a
Dude,
14
that's
by 14.
insane, dude.
And I ate that and the fries. So like I can eat. But obviously, like I was on the toilet trying to poop for like an hour after that. I couldn't even get up. It was miserable. So like I wouldn't do that. But you know, I can eat a good bit of food. Like I'm generally like known to like eat like a big sandwich before training. Maybe not super early in the morning, but like in the afternoon, if I'm gonna train and work out, I need food. And like I'll be fine as long as it's within reason.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm having like actual nutrients on top of that, like having fruit and veggies, like whole grain stuff that's like actually going to make my body and my cells work. You can't just live off hot dogs and pizza.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work, brother.
People that live off hot dogs live in Louisiana and Mississippi. You know what I'm saying?
There's some
I
good
think
hot
it's more
dogs in
Mississippi.
Louisiana, though.
I think it's more
No,
Mississippi.
dude, we were driving through, going to Brandon, Mississippi for this stand-up comedy festival.
Yeah.
And there are literally fast food chains that are based around hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Now,
you
I
go
cannot
there.
remember the
I
name
think
of
it's
the
Ward's.
place.
Ward's.
Oh.
They're a
Ward's.
hot dog chain.
Yeah, Portillo's. You ever been there? It's pretty much just about the Chicago dog.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but Chicago.
Is that here?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, there's not any here.
There's, I think, one in Orlando. And we're in
Oh, yeah,
Florida.
I try to avoid Orlando.
Why is that?
It's like, have you been to
It's-
Miami?
Yeah, it's
That's
North Miami.
I've been to Miami, and I've been to Orlando. They're two different
They're
places.
pretty different.
Well, it all kind
There's
of feels
definitely
very bad to
more
me.
Hispanics, and I feel like I'm in
Oh,
a
it's not
different
a.
country.
It's not like a skin color thing. It's like a. I don't like
The air.
the
You just don't like.
feeling. I don't know. I just
He
had a lot
doesn't
of
like
bad
going out.
experiences.
I feel that.
He
I'm an
doesn't
introvert
like.
as well.
Well, I mean, go ahead though. What do you mean? I don't like going out. I like. Is it the people? There's some people I don't like,
Yeah.
but it's just idiots I don't like.
Yeah.
But
He
I
just,
also
he just doesn't like being
value-
around other people.
I also
think.
value like one-on-one time more.
Am I
than,
inconveniencing you right now?
Like, no. No.
You hate being around me.
No, because we're like engaging in a conversation. It's like when I'm at like a bar or something, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
cool. So
And that's
do we
what those
talk
places
about
are,
here?
is bars
Oh,
and
yeah.
downtown scene and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I
kind
just
of
don't
shit,
even
you
go
know what I
there,
mean?
to be honest.
Yeah,
I
that's-
went and trained at like Ben Saunders' gym, and it was like an awesome experience. And just like got some food around.
See, I'm sure
Orlando.
if I was shown around the right places, but when I'm just there, I'm like,
What I'll do.
yeah, what do I do?
Yeah, I only go to places for food and jiu-jitsu, to be honest.
Yeah.
What else is there to life?
Yeah.
I guess
Anytime
more like
ever
family and stuff
traveling.
like that, but
Yeah.
Anytime ever traveling, it's always based around where am I going to train? Where am I going to eat at?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ramen
Same.
and Dragon Ball
That's
Z.
the fucking-
That's pretty much what you guys do, and I
Yeah.
love the documentation of it.
Yeah, you got
Like
to.
y'all go to this like Dragon Ball Z place.
It's in Orlando. It's called Super Saiyan.
Is that that's a ramen place or a pho place?
It's both actually.
Really?
So they got pho and they have ramen there, but the dumplings there that they make are like
is that downtown?
yeah.
That's
I went to the place near it. That's like the fried sushi. Mm-hmm. I had like a sushi corn dog. It was like a Korean corn dog, but it was like sushi as well.
that's aggressive.
And it was covered in hot
Sushi
Cheetos.
corn dog.
It was kind of like a
Bro,
corn
there's
dog.
a
It was
fucking-
like fried sushi dog with hot Cheetos on top, and it was mind blowing.
There's a food truck here that just released. They're doing some of that next week, but it's it's literally a sushi roll, but it's like a burrito roll. So you can
Oh,
eat
yeah,
like
yeah.
it,
A
they
sushi
cut
burrito.
like yeah,
Yeah,
but
those are fire.
they fry it and then toss it in or fry it in the hot Cheeto like dust.
Anything with
I'm
hot
like,
Cheetos, I'm
golly.
in, dog.
Really?
Dude, I love hot Cheetos.
See,
Hot Cheetos
dude,
is kinda.
Dude, I've
I've never
What
been.
is your ethnicity?
I
Who are you?
am. Where are you from? I was born in Iraq.
Okay.
But
word.
I came to America when I was 3. So my family and I, we're all in Iraq. The story of how we got here is pretty crazy. So we were originally in Iraq. I was there for about a year, and then we fled Iraq, went to Istanbul, and then we fled Istanbul when I was 3, and then came to America as refugees. So essentially in Iraq. So for context, like my dad was an anchorman, so he was pretty well off. Like my family was pretty well off. They're college educated. My brother had his own TV show. Like we're a pretty affluent family
Holy
in
shit.
Iraq. My dad
Damn.
was in
What
a
kind of
political
TV
party.
show, if you don't mind me asking?
It was like a kid show.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's still
sick.
pretty cool. Yeah. So I was a year old when this happened. My mom just wakes up one morning, and my dad's gone, and she has no clue. And then Saddam's troops come knocking on the door, and they're like, "Yo, where's your husband?" And she was like, "I don't even know." And they were like, "You got 2 hours figured out, or we're gonna come take you." So then immediately they leave, and then my mom's freaking out. My uncle calls, my dad's brother, and tells them that he knows where my dad is, just can't say where because the phones are tapped. And he picks us up, and then we go to like northern Iraq, somewhere like a village like close to the border of Turkey, and we're there for probably like 2 weeks or something like that. And then we cross on foot across the border. I'm a baby, so I don't remember any of this,
Yeah.
but I'm just like chilling on my mom's back.
Yeah.
And then we go across the border. We see my dad for the first time in a long time, like maybe a month or two. And then we just had like no money. We went from like really rich to like $50 in the bank account, living in a studio apartment with like 5 of us. And then we were there for a little bit. That's where my first like life memory was in Istanbul. So that's kind of like what I consider like I consider America home because I was raised here. But when I think like going back to the homeland and like seeing family, it's like I kind of think of Istanbul more than Iraq, just because you
don't remember any of the Iraq stuff.
I've been back to Iraq a couple times as an adult, but like that wasn't my first memory of life, and it's like it's also kind of hard to go back to Iraq compared to like Istanbul. It's a lot easier, a lot safer.
What is it? That Istanbulian?
Constantinople.
So you're Constantinople.
I was born in Iraq.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are what do you call?
What century?
What do you call that though? If you're from that
Iraqi. So I'm Iraqi.
Istanbul.
I get what you're saying now.
Turkish.
We're not Pensacolian. We're Florida.
Yeah. I would consider myself like
I was lost.
So culturally, I'm Iraqi Turkmen or Iraqi Turkmen, which is like there's three main cultures in Iraq. There's Arabs, Kurds, and Turkmens. Kurds control like the more northern region. Arabs control more southern region, and Turkmens are kind of more interspersed, but they're generally more in the north. And there's like less than 1 million people in the world who speak Iraqi Turkmen. It's like very much so like a dying language. So like that's what I was raised speaking, which is kind of like a old English in Turkish, and like Turkey is like new English almost because Turkey's a very new country. So they came from the Ottoman Empire, and the Iraqi Turkmens, what I am. We came from the Ottoman Empire, from like I think like the soldiers and the artists, which is hilarious because like Turkmens are like kind of known for being pussies, and like their anthem is like it's called Man Turkmanam Man Aslanam, which means like I am a Turkmen man, I am a lion. But it's like they're honestly known for getting crushed in wars. So it's not really that much of a flex.
Well, you're breaking the stereotype.
Yeah, it's like they're supposed to stem from these like soldiers, but it's like tough men create good times, and good times create soft men. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so that's kind of where I consider myself Iraqi Turkmen or Iraqi Turkmen. I go like when I've been to Turkey, they can tell I'm Turkmen by the way I speak and like American. So they like kind of don't even understand me. It's like Turkish is like it sounds almost European, and if you hear Turkmen, it sounds more like Arabic or Middle Eastern. Like it sounds closer to that. So it's like two different worlds, and like in Istanbul, it kind of meets, which is like the beautiful part. Which has its own issues, like politically. Like they have issues with like the EU, and they want to be like involved, but they're also like, Europe doesn't really look at them as Europe at the same time, but they want to be European. But yeah, we were there for 2 years, and then essentially my sister. She's 7 years older than me. So at this time, she's probably like 8 or 9 years old. And Sadam, he had agents all over. And we had an electrician come over and fix the house. And, he was asking, where are you guys from? And she said, we're from Iraq. And then he was like, oh, I bet you guys love Saddam. And she was like, I fucking hate that guy. He's an asshole, blah, blah, blah. And he said, you should be careful what you say because Saddam has eyes and ears everywhere. And that's what his agents would say. So we just got our bags, signed up for the United Nations Refugee Federation. And we're supposed to go to Clarkston, Georgia, which is like, if you're looking at Atlanta as like the circle, it's like the eastern part, right outside of the perimeter. It's where they send all the refugees. But we actually got sponsored by a church in Cartersville, which is like 30 minutes north of where Tent Plant is. It's like super rural country town. There's no refugees.
This was when you first got here?
First came to America. This is where I was raised. It's Cartersville, Georgia. So that's why like I kind of have like almost a southern accent at a lot of times just because...
You've been there forever.
Yeah, I was raised in the South. You know what I mean? So, but we were there. We got there in '98. So, huge difference because if this would have happened after 9/11, I don't think we would have got sponsored by that church.
No,
we probably would have went to like Clarkston, which would have been like a totally different life because I was the only Middle Eastern kid growing up. The only other Middle Eastern kid I met, I was 18 years old when he came to my school.
Holy
now, I know
shit.
this is kind of a weird jump, but like when 9/11 happened, did you notice like weird behavior towards you?
No? Okay, well, yes. Okay, so I didn't know what 9/11 was until 6th grade. So at the time, it was 2006 when I realized what happened.
Oh, wow.
Crazy story. I learned about 9/11 by, I mean, like there's people like mean to me and like racist to me growing up. I just didn't understand why because I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 28.
Okay.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 33.
You look great, dude. You look better than me.
Brother, it's all spirit.
Dude,
I'm living and
He's
dying
young
off
at
my
heart.
childhood.
You're young at heart.
Young at
That's
heart.
good to know, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How old are you?
24.
24?
Yeah.
You still got life in you, man.
Yeah,
I
something
try to
like that.
hang around. Oh, I'm not gonna say
All
that.
right.
Never mind.
I ain't hang out with the youngins.
I was like, you know what?
All right, let's
I'm
back
gonna let
her.
that one
Let's
go.
back her
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
I love going to playgrounds. Whoa.
Get him out of here. Yeah.
But yeah, so there was definitely like a lot of like, being the only Middle Eastern kid in a country town.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's got to be fucking wild, dude.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff
But
growing
I f-
up. I just thought it was normal.
but
And
I
then when
feel
I
like-
got out in the world, it wasn't normal.
Also, I feel like some of those towns though are very like, even though you hear like southern things about people being kind of assholes. I feel like
When
those
there are
kind of
people, there
areas.
are people.
But I feel like it's one of those
Yeah.
like when you've been there for a long time, they look
Yeah.
out for each other and they care about
that's
you.
the
You know what I
funny
mean?
thing. It's like,
Depends,
especially
yeah.
growing up in jiu-jitsu, because like, jiu-jitsu in like the South and a lot of these rural towns, a lot of it's like older, more conservative, like
yeah.
family type of
Yeah.
guys. And it would be funny because like, some of them might post like crazy stuff on Facebook about Middle Easterners, and like I'd be like, man,
Yeah.
like I saw this post, and they'd be like, oh man, you're different. Like it's
Yeah.
you're cool Muslim.
I
Like,
love it. Yeah. I love it. They look at
Yes.
anybody and they're just like, you are what we think the stereotype
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
and you're cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Brother, I might not even be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot of that. I mean, it's just a lot of these people. You have to like growing up. I had resentment towards a lot of people like that growing up, but then eventually I realized I'm like people just know what they're used to. You know what I mean? So like being
Yeah.
the only Middle Eastern guy they've ever met, the only thing they learn about like Muslim people or Middle Eastern people is what they see on TV.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be
Yeah.
the best look. But yeah, I learned about 9/11 through math class. I remember sitting in 6th grade. And I was just like bored at the end of class. We had like a couple minutes to kill. I reach over to the library and I grab a book, and it's like a picture book, and it's going through what 9/11 was and how it happened. And I thought this was a made up story. And then at the very end, it was like based on a true story, and I was like, whoa, no one's ever told me this.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
like, how based is this?
I was like, this
They're,
is
pretty much
super based.
exactly fact.
Yeah, this whole thing's true.
Yeah,
and
this just happened.
yeah, and then I went home and Googled it, and then I learned all about it.
Yeah.
This is like when Wikipedia is getting big in like 2006 and stuff. So I was just like,
Shit was popping, dude.
it was popping, dude.
Yeah.
LimeWire, the good old days,
Oh,
dude.
wow.
Yeah,
Dude.
wrecked my dad's computer, but
For sure.
yeah. So on just music for sure, just
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
nothing else.
No research involved.
No
No.
research. Yeah.
No technique study.
Yeah,
Fucking-
But yeah, I just like learned what 9/11 was that day, and then that day I was like, oh wow, I see why people pick on me, and then it kind of like it didn't make me go train right then and there, but like that's when I think like some resentment started to happen, and like it kind of led to me getting to jiu-jitsu because I started training around 8th grade. So for like those 2 years, I just turned into a really like I've always been like a good kid growing up, but like even my mom's like in 6th grade. I don't know what happened. This book happened. I learned about 9/11 and realized why I was getting roasted, and I was like, I'll show them what's up. They want to see a terrorist, I'll fight them, which is like so backwards.
Wow.
That's really what it was. It's like people call me a terrorist, people call me racial slurs, and it's like, dude, my 6th grade brain just didn't know how to handle that. I was like, I'll just beat them up. Can't talk smack to me if I beat you up. Well, you get kicked out of school when you get into fights, apparently.
Yeah.
So I got into a lot
Yeah.
of fights, got kicked out of school, and had to go to like a county school, which is not that great. But it was a good time, and I ended up learning about one of my friends, Nick Cady. He's the one who introduced me to jiu-jitsu because we were in chemistry class, and I was just like doing karate and like just kind of just McDojo martial arts, so I thought I was tough.
Yeah. Chuck Norris.
Yeah, it's not that karate's
Fucking-
a McDojo martial art. I don't want to say that, but the karate that I was doing was a McDojo because we weren't sparring. It wasn't even karate. This guy had a black belt in Taekwondo and Choi Kwando. Actually legitimate. Like he did like the Junior Olympics, like he was an Olympic alternate. And then he just came to Cartersville and was like, you know what? I'm going to make Ku Karate because that's his last name. So, and he just made his own system. And there was like a chain belt, like the top one. It was like,
What?
Like there was like these katas, but they're like self-defense based. It was kind of crazy. But,
Holy
so I did
shit.
that, and I thought I was.
This is a real life Danny McBride.
Yeah, this guy also fixed computers on the side too.
This way.
What
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck,
Karate.
dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ku Karate.
Yeah.
I still had my uniform when I was a kid. But yeah, I did that, so I thought I was hot stuff. And then Nick Cady, I was just talking smack. I was like, yeah, dude, look at this choke I learned on the internet. And I was trying to do a guillotine, but I was accidentally doing an executioner. You know what that is? It's like when you're behind somebody and back mount, you reach around and you grab their neck and like rip their neck off. It's like a guillotine, but they're upside down.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do that, and he goes, "That's not a guillotine. This is a guillotine." And he,
I'm like,
It's like you have their back.
what?
yeah, imagine I'm
And
behind
then
you
you
and I
go
reach
over.
all the way
Oh,
around,
fuck.
bend your neck back like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sucks.
Yeah, I was trying to do that, and he goes, "That's not a guillotine. This is a guillotine." He put me in just like classic high elbow guillotine,
Yeah.
and just like almost schlepped
Stars.
You said,
dude, just literally almost schlepped me in the back of chemistry class. And then it was like a movie. I fell to my hands for a second. I was like, "Whoa, where'd you learn that?" And
Yeah.
he goes, He just slipped me an address, and he was like, "Come here tonight, 8 p.m." Like Fight Club.
Damn.
And I went there, got my ass kicked, and I was like, "This is cool." And then I trained on and off for like maybe like a month or two, and then I came in, I think a month afterwards, and I was like, I signed up for a fight, and I signed up for a Muay Thai fight because I was doing MMA, and I trained for probably 3 weeks, and just got wrecked by like a grown man. I'm like 14. I should not be fighting adults. I fought like a 24-year-old man who's like 4-2. This is back when they did not ID you.
Yeah.
And it was a smoker. So I
mean, they saw you and they were like, get him the biggest guy.
Well, I also looked like a man-child, to be honest. Like
you had a beard early?
Very early. I had a scum stash when I was like 10. So
that sounds so nasty.
It was, yeah.
We're still living in that era.
Yeah.
Y'all still got some whiskers. It's all good.
Tough, dude. It's a tough scene over here.
Yeah.
You got to be proud. You know?
Hey, at least you got hair on top. You know what I mean?
You're dry.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah. Take it while you
We'll
can.
see.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I just remember signing up for the smoker, getting the shit kicked out of me for 3 rounds. And then afterwards in the ambulance, the EMT was like, "Wow, you're probably never going to do that again, huh?" And I was like, "No, man, I love this shit." And then I just kept training from there. And then eventually just realized I was doing MMA, mostly MMA. And then very quickly, after like a couple years, I was like, you know what? I think I'll just stick to jiu-jitsu.
What made that distinction?
Blowing my knee out and like concussions. Just like having ACL injuries and then
From
the concussions.
kicks?
Someone tried to Harai Goshi me, actually. You know what Harai Goshi is? It's like a hip toss variation. So imagine like just a hip toss, but then like they kick your leg at the very end when you're light. But the trick is you have to kick the leg when it's light. If you make them heavy, that's what this guy did, and you kicked someone's leg out. You just bend their leg in half. So that's what happened to me. This dude was like 260 at the time. I still know this guy, Joshua Dover. He's out there one day. He's gonna
You're like, I don't
listen to
think
this.
about it every day.
I don't think about it every day.
Wake up every morning. He's got a
I
picture
rolled
of Joshua
him like
Dover.
not too long ago, and it's funny. I think I was like trying to submit him, and I was like on his back, and I whispered the last second. I was like, "You still blew my knee out," and he was like, "I'm so sorry," and I was like, "It's fine. I'm just fucking with you, but I'm not."
You should get a tattoo on your knee that just says "blow me."
Yeah.
That's actually kind of sick. That's kind of sick.
Yeah.
That's pretty tight.
You can have that.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll keep that for next time.
Yeah.
The knee injury right there.
Yeah.
I'll tattoo
Blow
that.
me.
But yeah,
Doesn't Kevin have ouch on his ankle? Or no?
it says send it.
Send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to snap, crackle, pop around my knees.
Dude, his actually does.
I do. Anytime I crouch down, dude.
Like, yeah, it literally sounds like popping. Like,
Yeah. It's not
little
good.
bubbles.
You should probably see a doctor, dude.
Yeah. It's been like that forever, though.
You are the
doctor,
doctor
right?
we're seeing
Huh?
right now.
You know I'm a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Habibi.
Okay. Well,
Were you there at the Pensacola team training where Sean taught the seminar, and then at the end someone was asking about like nutrition or something? He goes, "Oh, you should ask Mohammad." And it started off him being serious, and he goes, "He's a doctor." And I just went along with it. 'Cause people laughed, and then I go, "Yep, that's me. I'm a doctor." And I said it out loud. And then 30 minutes later, people were rolling, and I was talking to Sean, and someone comes up behind me and is like, Doctor, we need you. Someone dislocated their shoulder. Can you fix it for them?" And I look over, and this dude's like shoulder's just hanging out.
Does
And
he?
he's just like looking at me. Dude, he
You
looks
weren't
at me
there,
for
right?
desperation.
No,
you
Dude,
weren't there.
he was
wasn't
looking
there.
at me like, "Please, doctor." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Brother, it was a joke. I am not a doctor."
Yeah, you shouldn't have took it serious.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah,
That's
so
tough, bro.
so I put it back in place. Right now, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, put your foot in the thing.
I took his insurance and I fixed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I started training. Just met some dude in his basement and trained for a little bit. Eventually, it turned to a real gym like in downtown, and then from there I started getting like really into jiu-jitsu because I was getting tired of getting schlepped and striking. Like striking's fun, but like once you get knocked out a few times, it just becomes easier to get knocked out.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, your brain cells don't come back. So I'll never forget one time I got head kicked by this dude named Big Nate. We kicked each other at the same time.
What is your energy about fighting bigger people?
I don't roll with bigger people anymore because of this.
Yeah, no shit. You
Yeah.
get thrown, your
I'm glad
knees
you-
destroyed.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get kicked in the head by a bigger guy. You fought a grown man at 14.
Yeah. You got to say no sometimes.
You literally have
Yeah,
to
you-
pick
I think
on
you have
somebody
to.
your own
Yeah.
size.
Yeah. Me and Pat are the same size.
Are y'all really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, you look
Pat's
way
like-
bigger.
Pat's bigger, dude.
Pat's energy is huge.
Pat's energy is huge,
Got a
dude.
presence on him, dude.
Especially when he's on
Got
top of
Got a
you.
presence on him.
Yeah.
Especially if he smother taps you.
Yeah, if the mother's milk is becoming medical, it's happening.
The mother.
Yeah, no, anytime I roll with you, I feel like a child.
Who, Pat?
Yeah. So mother's milk, daddy's arms, whatever it's called.
Whatever you
it's-
wanna call it.
His
I feel
wrestling's gotten better since the beard's gotten stronger. I swear to God.
I came in with a mustache when I first came to Atlanta. He let me stay with him for that week, and it was all stand up. So He was like, brother, you must grow the beard back out and then shave that mustache.
Just shave the mustache
Shave
and
that
keep the beard.
mustache.
Keep the beard.
That's what Dagestanis do. Apparently,
What
that's
is
what
that
it's
Damn.
about?
I don't know, man. Apparently, so
It's a religious thing, isn't
so
it?
that's what they say. So the thing is, like, different cultures will take different, like, it's not a script, so it's not from the Quran. It's what's called the hadiths. Hadiths are like the writings of people who like followed the Prophet Muhammad, kind of like I guess like some hymns or stories that might be from the Bible, but like they're kind of not. People just kind of added them
It's
in,
the
like
interpretation or something.
yeah, kind of one of those type of things. And like some hadiths, like these stories are like supported by scholarly evidence. Some of them, meh. And like I think different cultures will take a hadith that's maybe not that well supported, and they just kind of go in on it. And apparently that came from like the Prophet not having a mustache because it's unclean, which doesn't make sense to me because
But a
every other
beard
Muslim
is-
dude I know has a mustache. My dad literally has a mustache and looks like Saddam Hussein, which is ironic because that's
But the
who tried to
beards
kill
are.
him.
But the beard is considered clean.
I guess so.
Hmm.
I guess I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Everyone's
That's
got a
wild.
mustache.
Yeah.
In the Middle East, but yeah, no, I think that's it's more like a cultural thing. But people amass things that are really cultural as like a religious thing, but it's more so like their interpretation of it is
Yeah.
religious, but ultimately it's like it's only applied culturally.
Right.
Like you don't see
Yeah.
many people outside
Yeah.
of that region doing that.
I see what you mean.
But yeah, didn't want to stick around and do MMA. That sucked. Getting knocked out. One time I got knocked out and I got face planted and I was like face down, ass up, and just woke up 3 minutes later and I kept saying like, "What happened?" Probably 20 times.
I had no idea what.
They're like,
and
guy,
we-
you gotta let it go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
You got knocked out.
Nobody's.
I just went back to sparring. I mean, I was probably 16, 17 at the time, and I'm like the only person in the room who hadn't had like a professional fight. And it's like that was just the culture back then. You just spar 5 days a week hard. And it's like after a while, you just don't want to do it anymore. Especially like it's not really worth the payout. Like if you think about like how to make a living in MMA, it's a very tough road. And and afterwards, this is what people don't talk about. Afterwards, I mean, like you're gonna teach like an MMA gym, and like MMA gym culture is very different than like jiu-jitsu gym culture. There's not as much money in it compared to like jiu-jitsu. There's more hobbyist people doing jiu-jitsu than MMA.
Yeah,
It's
because
very
if you're
hard to
doing
hobby
MMA, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna try and fight and do all that kind
Generally
of stuff.
speaking,
Yeah.
or you do it for like a year or two, and then you're like, "This sucks.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
I'll just do jiu-jitsu."
Also,
Right.
you, at least from my experience knowing fighters, they're not coming from money. So they're very
No.
tight on money, and everything
Yeah.
is typically provided through sponsors, or they're trying
Yeah.
to like, yo, I'm trying to do this for a living, so I quit my job so I can train full time to pick this up.
Yeah,
And they have a good little window of time to like, I'm gonna make or break on this.
yeah,
But on jiu-jitsu, it's like typically people that have jobs, their extra money is going towards training and trying to get better at that, and then maybe they're good enough that they can focus full time or like part time.
Yeah.
yeah. It's not quite as developed yet.
Yeah.
I think jiu-jitsu is like slowly going that direction, especially if you consider how young it is. Like sport-wise, it's really only existed since like the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Like IBJJF and ADCC didn't really start having tournaments till then. If
Yeah.
you're thinking like an actual sport organization, not just like challenge matches in Brazil
Mm-hmm.
or Japan. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got into jiu-jitsu. And like that was you know, I kind of just did what most people do, just trained at the nearest gym, and you're just like, yeah, this is the place, dude. And you just go along for the ride.
So where was your like longest tenure in jiu-jitsu?
So I went there. That was in my hometown, and I was there probably 4 or 5 years. And then after that, my coach at that time in the city, in that town, his head coach was in Atlanta. So I would go there and cross train there. Then eventually, this is like an hour away, so I'm like an hour north of Atlanta. So I would just drive down there. Then eventually, I just got a job there teaching beginners classes, and I just got like, you know, a BS job, just working just to like pay the bills and just move to the city. I told my parents this for college, but it was really just to go to like train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just did what most people do, just lie to their parents. But
Seems chill.
I did go to college. You know what I mean? I did go to classes. You know, I took tests.
Can you
I took
imagine if the
tests.
sport develops into like training becoming like degrees? Like I know it's literal degrees.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you get far enough along, but like
Yeah.
imagine if you can like actually do it as a college course.
Yeah, I mean it's like that,
That
in
is
some
aw- that
in
would be
some
awesome.
places of the world.
Yeah.
Like they take it very seriously, but there's just more funding for it comparative to like America, like Japan and Russia. Like they put way more effort and funding into like judo and wrestling and like those
Right.
combat sports, because as a culture, like they view it as like a almost like our American pastime comparative to like here it's getting bigger really because of the UFC. It's getting more normalized, and that's like really what's helping jiu-jitsu get more accepted is the UFC.
Yeah.
Because most people don't see jiu-jitsu and they're like, I want to do that. I didn't even know. Like, I would see people show up for grappling tournaments, take pictures at grappling tournaments, and I'm like, where are the gloves? Like, are they not hitting each other? Like, what are they even doing?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know what jiu-jitsu
Confused.
is.
Well, I think that's still a thing for
yeah.
people that just watch UFC
Yeah.
kind of lightly. They, when you say you do jiu-jitsu or whatever, they're like, oh, so you do UFC type thing. It's
Yeah.
like they put those two together and they don't understand the
And it's
distinction of.
very hard to explain that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like,
I think
well,
also too, like most people, the way they do jiu-jitsu, it's like so different from the UFC too. It's very niche. Like
Yeah.
IBJJF gi-centric jiu-jitsu is very different. That it's almost like it's crazy how like most people see the UFC and they're like, oh, I want to try jiu-jitsu, and then you go into like a gym that's very very traditional, more so like about the gi and like IBJJF type rule set, and it's like that's really nothing like MMA or the UFC.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I just kind of fell into that because I signed up trying to be a UFC fighter. This is what I wanted. And then eventually I'm like, oh, I'll just stick to jiu-jitsu. And then, your coach, they're just like, want you to put a gi on and compete in the gi. Like, that's just what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't really have a choice of it. But I probably spent most of my time, trying to think. Yeah, probably like 9 years at the place I was at before switching over to Sean's. That's the place in the city. So like I moved my hometown to go there to the city. It's fucking hilarious. I moved from like my hometown out of the city to the city, and then now I'm back out of the city training at Sean's because it's like closer to where my hometown was.
Yeah.
So I just spent 9 years of my life paying rent in this really high expensive area just to go back out of town.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's great.
Well, life plays out the way it does, so you find the people.
Yeah,
you
it does.
find.
I knew Sean years ago. I competed against one of his blue belts, and I remember getting tapped in the finals. And then, he just showed me some stuff afterwards, and he was just like super cool about it. But that's when he was in Gulf Shores. He wasn't in Atlanta yet. And then when he moved to Atlanta, I was just, deep down the gi rabbit hole, like, training for worlds,
Did you know he had moved there
I
at that
did.
time?
Yeah, I did. And I wanted to go at some point because they would sometimes come to Atlanta. One time specifically, the gym that I trained at in the city, like I had a key there. So I just let Sean and Chase in one time before a tournament. And Sean was just like coaching Chase, like doing some last minute preparations. And I was kind of like, not being okay. We're like still rolling, but it's like very obvious he's like working on specific stuff. So that was cool. That's like the first time I rolled with Chase. And obviously he just smoked me. But then after they moved here, I was already too focused on the gi. And then the pandemic happened. And then when the pandemic happened, I just took the gi off and just trained with some of my friends. And then I realized I have no idea what I'm doing without a gi.
Yeah.
Like just no clue. Because the team that I was under was very IBJJF gi centric, which isn't a bad thing. But like he's known for spider guard. He's known for open guard, which is cool. But those tools just literally don't exist in no gi.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're doing for the majority of your training, it's hard to transfer that over in no gi. So whenever I did start doing more no gi, I just had no idea what I was doing. I was just, honestly, a lot of my jiu-jitsu was just self-taught. Like, I would obviously have coaches and instructors who would help me, like, tidbits and give me stuff, but a lot of them just weren't consistent coaching because they had other stuff going on. Like, they had lives. Like, they got families, they got kids, most of them have a real job. Like, most of them didn't have just teaching as their only time, and if they did, it's like, they still have other stuff. They still have other people to coach, too. And I think most people don't approach jiu-jitsu the way Sean does in like an academic type of sense, because it feels like you're going through like a college course when you're training with him. Whereas a lot of coaches, instructors, they kind of just like have a good like coaching environment, and they kind of like throw some tough guys in a room and you scrap, and that makes you tough, but it's kind of hard to develop skills at the same time. You will, like if you train long enough, you will develop skills, but it just won't be as efficient or as speedy of a rate. So when I started doing no-gi, I just had no idea what I was doing. I trained with some of my buddies during the pandemic, and then eventually one of my friends who went to 10 Planet came back, and he was just like, oh, dude, let's train. And we rolled, and dude, this guy did not have very good jiu-jitsu, and then he was like butterfly sweeping me, and I was like, wow, this guy's actually doing jiu-jitsu. And I was like, if this guy can do this in 2 months, like what can I do in 2 years?
Yeah.
So I started cross-training there. And it started off as cross-training because I'm just a mat rat. So, like, from like high school, I just worked at the gym. I was just like that teenager who's just at every class, cleaning the mats after class, getting there early, training. Like I would just walk from high school to the gym. Some people call it autism. I call it obsessed.
I'm not
I call
allowed
it
to
driven.
speak on that anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, touch of the tism. Yeah, I saw that.
little-
You should get Kevin on here, man. He loves talking.
He's gonna be on here Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I got
be
in
good.
trouble for that. So
Yeah.
dude, he's just gonna spend the whole podcast just ripping your leg off.
Let me see.
well,
You can record it.
I mean,
I
we're
will.
down, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
will.
he's already done a good
Yeah.
bit of ripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a good bit of
ripping
tearing.
and a tearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be a fun episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be him and Luke.
Oh yeah. You should definitely have Luke on there as a good assist.
Yeah, I was like, you could have somebody on, like maybe Ryan or something, like somebody that.
You
I'm
should
assuming
you should
he
give Ryan
just-
his own episode.
Well,
Yeah.
he said
He
Ryan
needs
wasn't
his own.
even coming.
Yeah, Ryan's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I've known Ryan for like 10 years, and it's like we're on the same team now, but it's like we've known each other since we were like young, and we train each other on and off. But it's just funny, like we're back at like in the same gym training together now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely deserves his own episode.
yeah, we were
He's a
rolling
trip.
one time in Atmore. I think it was
Yeah.
Atmore at Raymer's gym, and I can't even remember what the technique that we were in the middle, or what I thought was I was doing. And he goes, "That's cute," and then proceeded to smash. And I
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Ryan's funny. Ryan's one
And
of the most
he's-
accidentally funny people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like when he's trying to be funny, it's still funny. But like when he's not trying to be funny, but he's being serious,
Yeah.
it makes it 10 times funnier. He's one of the easiest people to rile up. Like you just say one thing, and
Well,
it's
give
like,
us some dirt, so whenever he's on, we could just slide some things in.
man, just
yeah.
like talk to him about like random stuff that he's into. Like ask him about crypto, and he'll just like go down a rabbit
So
hole.
he knows about
Oh,
crypto?
fuck.
I guess I don't
We're
know.
gonna say
I
that's
zone.
bullshit.
I don't know.
I zone out 2 minutes in, bro. I'm like, what are we talking about? It's after
It's-
training. I'm tired. This isn't jujitsu related.
Yeah.
I'm gonna zone out.
He's talking about the newest coin that's coming out. You're like, dude, I
He
don't
just
even know
like
what the
has put so much
fuck.
time and effort into researching it, and you're like, dude, this is what you do.
You got any
We're not
dirt on
training?
Kevin? Like some things that might
Yeah,
get
it's
him
too
going?
much. I
He
feel-
loves spicy food. Bring some hot sauce for him.
Bro, we have a gummy bear.
Got a
dude.
fucking little nitro, dude.
Yeah, give him that
Dude.
spicy.
Brother, the
Dude.
last time somebody tried this, we literally had to stop the
We had to
podcast.
stop-
Like
yeah.
1 minute later, he was throwing up and shitting in our bathroom.
At the same time. Yeah.
So
Yeah, give him that.
Yeah,
I would
Kevin
love to
loves
Give
see
him
Kevin.
that.
He's gonna be like,
Yeah.
he handles it extremely well, and we're like,
Yeah. What the fuck?
yeah.
Yeah, that little thing's got 9 million Scoville units to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they don't have that in the Amish village where he's from.
No, dude, he's
Shoo.
brother. Have you seen The Office?
Of course, yeah.
He's Moe's.
Yeah.
He's Moe's
Yeah.
all day long, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
tough look.
It's
It's
tough,
right.
but
Yeah.
He's
somebody should
It
get him
works.
that. It's like a thermal long sleeve, and it just says "fear" on it. That's what Mose wears in one of the episodes. Brother, that's him.
Yeah,
I saw he
can
got a
definitely see that.
haircut, so he looks a little less bad.
He
but-
looks a little Dominican right
Less
now.
bad.
With the fade he's got.
Does he?
Yeah, he looks a little Dominican. He went to Chicago, came back Dominican.
Yeah, you got lined up.
He
for
blew
it.
up.
he got lined up.
He's
Yeah.
blowing up
Got
and
lined
acting
up
like
in Chi-Town.
he should get a little bead.
Yeah.
You know, get a little culture on him.
But yeah, so when I started training Nogi, and that guy, told me like, oh, I learned this at Sean's. I just started training there, and I honestly was cross training there for probably. So I officially became part of the team in like February. So before that, I was just cross training, but I worked at the gym.
So when you did the King of the Coast here, where were you?
I was still
out of?
technically working at the gym, so
Okay.
I wasn't able to like represent 10 Planet while competing.
Yeah.
Just because like my coach at the time was also like the business owner, so it just like doesn't really look great, I guess, for business. But
Yeah.
but I'm I don't work there anymore. I actually got fired. So and honestly it became like the best thing that could have happened to me. So it just kind of like became a thing where our values didn't really align. We just kind of grew in two different directions. And like if your values don't align in the gym, it doesn't really work out. So
Yeah.
I just didn't work out. So I ended up getting my own place. I just opened a gym in Atlanta called Kuzushi Club Atlanta, and it's just an affiliate under Sean. I originally wasn't gonna be affiliated, but the thing is, like, your lineage is your affiliation. Like just training with somebody is your affiliation. So like regardless if I had the proper affiliation or not, people are going to treat it like a Sean Applegate affiliate.
Yeah.
And I went with that because I wanted a name that like stuck out to me and had some meaning. And Kuzushi Club was the name that I felt something with, because I feel like one of the biggest things Sean helped me with was like I had huge fundamental holes in my game when I first went there. And this was like 2.5 years ago. I'm a brown belt.
Yeah, we live in that world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you get
It's
it.
a
Whole
constant.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get it. So
Yeah, it never ends.
Ouch.
yeah. Well, one day you'll make it out, brother.
Well,
Inshallah, brother.
Brother,
Inshallah.
I live in the darkness.
yeah.
So, you know, like going there, and it was just mind blowing, you know, learning things like principles like weight distribution, learning Kuzushi, learning leverage, learning things that are like from almost like a college course perspective. You have to learn these foundational things first, because people always say like, oh, you got to learn the fundamentals, but it's like no one really says what the fundamentals are. And it's like, it's kind of subjective depending who you ask. And, you know, at the time, I was just very IBJJF point based. Like, if you passed my guard, that was it. Like, I wasn't escaping. There was just, I didn't know how to. You know, people will tell you, like, oh, shrimp, bridge, but, like, you know, I didn't really understand the nuance to applying it. And that's because I didn't have a conceptual or principle-based understanding of the moves I was doing. And I feel like Sean helped me with that the most. And that's kind of why I picked Kuzushi Club and, like, going with that affiliation, because that name just stuck with me. That's like one of the biggest things Sean's taught me is like not moves, but principles and concepts that build the moves, and then you can kind of make jiu-jitsu your own. You can start to not make moves, because you can't really invent moves, like it's all been made, but you can kind of stumble upon
It's
stuff.
like music.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of riding off a vibe, but you kind of create your own.
You can kind of
Exactly.
change it a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Everyone's got their own little twist on how they do a move and how they apply it. And it's like, that was like one of the most useful things for me. It's like, you know, instead of giving me the fish, he taught me how to fish. And that served me for a much longer purpose. Now, it is a lot harder at first, because when you're trying to memorize moves, like maybe you get like an immediate feedback. You're like, wow, this is good. But like once the people around you know what you're doing and you don't conceptually understand it, when you go to apply it, you don't see the bigger picture and you can't apply it.
People are gonna sleep on what you just said.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
What you just said is so much deeper.
We
than
just
what,
talked about this
Massive.
earlier. Yeah.
That is like, and I know it just sounded so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
it's-
that is exactly how everybody learns jiu-jitsu at first. Is they're just like, learn this move. And then you just can't get to that move.
Yeah. And
Brother,
you're
you
like,
have
what
no
do you
game
do?
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is like at first just being exposed to moves, just being able to identify what an armbar is, and then after that it's like, all right, now start applying the armbar and figure out all these nuances that you have to go through to actually apply an armbar against a resisting competent person. And then after that it's just systematizing that move with other moves that correlated with it, like a triangle armbar work together in a dilemma. Now you've developed your triangle, now you worked your armbar. You've shot both of them. Now you can actually put them together in a dilemma. So now your game's a lot more consolidated, and it's foundationally a lot more strong. Because that way, when you do run into issues, you're able to kind of fall back on that process of being able to expose yourself to a move, figure out, like, just identify that's what it looks like, and then just take it from there through application and systematizing that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I got
Systematize
it. You
that
could have
shit,
went
dog.
with the first thing, and I would have gone, I get it.
Systemization.
You right.
Yeah.
Systemization.
You right.
Yeah. It's a big word, dude. From Cartersville. I don't know big words.
Dude, big words is tough.
Yeah, that's a big word right there. Cartersville.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's kind of like one of the biggest things that he taught me, and that's why I wanted to go with that name. Because, dude, I'll tell you this, bro. Everything's been thought of. Like, you try to think of, like, a cool name for a gym. They've all been thought of. Yeah. Like, I researched for months trying to figure out the name I was going to go with. And I went with a couple that were, you know, pretty sus that I'm not going to say online because I'm just ashamed of it.
I have a question. Whenever you grow into 10th Planet, what is it going to be called? Because it can't be 10th Planet Atlanta.
Schmeinings. So, I don't know. I've thought about this.
10th
People have
Planet
asked me
Habibi?
Habibi top team?
Yeah.
HTT.
So, yeah, some people have asked me this. Honestly, and this isn't like a knock at 10 Planet. Like, I love 10 Planet, what it's done for me. Yeah. It's just like, I haven't met Eddie. Like, I haven't trained with Eddie. So it's hard for me to, like, want to commit to being, like, my gym being 10 Planet. And, like, the, not implications, but, like, what's the
representation?
The representation of it. And it's like, yeah, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, I just trained with Sean, and it's like, I know Sean, and that's my coach. So it's like, that's who I want to represent.
Right.
It's nothing against Eddie. I think Eddie's a cool guy. I've never met him.
It's a weird question as well. Once you become a black belt, are you still allowed to just keep it Kuzushi Club Atlanta?
Yeah, he said you can
so
do whatever
you'll
you
just
want.
keep it?
I probably will, but who knows what I'll think in like a year or two from now, because I'm also probably not going to get...
I mean, Kuzushi Club is sick.
It sounds
It
nice.
is
It's a mouthful if you're new, though.
Yeah. I was
I think
talking
it
to this
stands out,
locksmith
though.
the
It
other
does.
day, and he's like, "You do jujitsu," and I told him where, and he's like, "You're gonna have to write that down for me."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." How
Even
do you
looking
think
at it
it's
though,
Yeah.
sometimes you're like,
Yeah.
you know. But I think it
Don't
it
catch
does
me in the
stick out.
spelling bee with that word up. I'm like, can I do the club word?
Yeah.
I think I got the club word pretty
Yeah,
good.
I think that's what really saves it. It's alliteration, it's just
Yeah.
two same sounding like letters back to back.
Yeah.
and people
Kuzushi
that
Club.
catches with people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I'll probably just keep it Kuzushi Club. But you know, who knows how I'll feel in 2 years or 3? Who knows? Because I mean, I'm just now officially under Sean this February, so it's I've been training with him like cross train with him for the past like 2-3 years or so since the pandemic. But I feel like there's still just plenty of stuff I need to work on, so it's probably a while till I'm gonna get a black belt, and it's like I don't really care to think about something that's gonna be not an issue, but it's like a concern, something to think about several years down the line. So I'm not really too concerned by it.
No reason to stress about it now.
Yeah. But I mean, because who knows what I'm gonna think in that time period. Right now, I enjoy being Kuzushi Club, and I still represent 10 Planet when I compete.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just kind of playing it from there.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dude,
Heard
I think when I first started jiu-jitsu, I was like, I mean, like everybody else, you're very worried about colors and stripes and like, I want to develop as fast as fucking possible. But I think once you get along, and not by any means am I like far in a journey, like talent-wise, but like you don't worry about the colors anymore. I think you're more so worried like, can I consistently keep this together on a routine basis? Like, am I able to develop my skill and not let anything fall to the wayside? Like, don't let anything one way, shape, or form get too weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what really keeps me interested in jiu-jitsu is just the skill development. Because like you said, when people first start training, they're definitely focused on like the belt or the stripes. And honestly, like I don't do stripes anymore. I stopped doing stripes a while back just because, like there was a while, I've been teaching for over 10 years. So I've kind of seen like the effect like different teaching methods or coaching methods have. And like, dude, stripes, there's nothing wrong with gyms doing it. And like, I think for kids program, for sure. Because kids, like a month for a
That's
child
big-
is a long time.
Yeah,
But
it's a
like
big
an
deal.
adult, like I remember one time 2 adults, like we were lining up. It was back when we used to line up. I don't do it anymore, but 2 guys were lined up next to each other. They were arguing about who would go in front of the line because they had the same amount of stripes. And one dude was like, "Well, I'm older," and I'm like, "Bro, are you 12? What did you just say?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is kind of weird." Like, I want people to not focus on that and focus on the skill development, which it is harder from a business standpoint. Like stripes and belts, like it makes more sense because that's what people want the result. That's what people want, and that's what I learned working in nutrition. Is like, you tell people, hey, include these foods, limit these foods, have this lifestyle. And people are like, well, I don't want to, you know what I mean? And they're like, where's the results? And it's like, well, you just didn't really do the work. So what do you want to do?
Yeah.
I think as far as stripes and development and like colors, and that's got to be your first dilemma in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like your dilemmas change over time. Like then you start to work on like technique dilemmas. But like the newbie, the green guy off the street, that is going to be like one of your first dilemmas. Like 1, is it even for them? 2, if it is for them, how quick can I do this? That's always what they think.
Yeah.
I was one of them. Like I was like, yo, let me get that black belt. BJ Penn, 3 years.
Yeah.
I might dust that into 2.5.
I mean, you might, dude.
Yeah, not.
Nope.
Nope, didn't happen.
Not enough tism.
Odd saying,
Didn't.
can't happen anymore.
Yeah, dude, you need more tism.
Passed it.
Dude,
Passed it.
I'm pretty heavy into the tism. It hasn't helped,
Have you ever watched that show, Love on the Spectrum?
brother.
You like that show?
Favorite show.
There's an Australian one.
Yeah, that's the best one.
What?
Oh,
'Cause
I
Australian
absolutely
accents
agree.
are just hilarious. And then
I didn't even know that.
they're
Love
just,
on the Spectrum. Have you seen Down for Love?
No.
Nah, but I
Brother,
can
get
imagine
on
what it's
Down
about.
for Love.
What?
These
I'm not gonna
names,
say,
bro.
Hey, I'm not gonna
These
say
people-
what it's about or
These,
what.
you don't have to, but these
we got it.
these
No, yeah,
writers,
I think you get it,
He
these
said,
writers,
"No, we got
dude.
it."
Yeah, man.
dude. They're awesome though. Like they found a
Oh, they're
loophole.
they're great, dude. No, it's great.
I get in trouble, but they can put it on
Hey,
Netflix. That's
they
all
put it
right.
on Netflix. They
You
do.
know?
They put it on the front screen.
It's an awesome show though.
Yeah, I'll look into that for sure.
I'm telling you, look, by no means am I ever anti-tism because I got it myself, but it makes you love any sort of tism.
The
Yeah.
show does?
The people, yes,
Oh, okay,
yeah. You
okay.
see them, and you're just like, how do you just not want everything good in life ever for these people?
Yeah.
Because they're so pure and so
Yeah.
innocent
Yeah.
and so nice, and
Yeah.
they're not rude.
It's not a disorder.
Even-
It's just a different way of thinking.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
it's the way, it's the view people
The
have
stigma.
on. It's like,
Yeah.
they're idiots or something, and it's like, no, we're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have life figured out.
Yeah, they got computer brains, dude.
Yeah.
They got it figured out.
They're like, why would I be sad when
Yeah.
I can be?
I know what
happy?
happened 5 years
Yeah.
ago on this
They're
date
like
at
Casey.
3 p.m.
Yeah. Just always happens.
Casey's like, you can't be sad. You're a man.
Yeah. Whoa.
You're
You
a
got it.
man. Said, huh?
Whoa.
Yeah. That rile him up. Say that.
That
Mashallah.
You'll
Be
get
like,
him
you
on
know,
that.
women are just as important as men. Rather, the day's gone.
Oh
with Casey.
god.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Wow,
Here we
dude.
go.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
You got to get out of here.
I do.
Yeah.
I always.
Unfortunately, he's got to be states away in like
Yeah.
no time.
Yeah. In less
Well,
than
thanks for
2
coming
hours.
on my podcast, man. I really appreciate you coming on, dude.
So it's been nice having you as a guest.
Yeah, dude, it's been sick.
Yeah,
Actually,
dude.
I might come back.
Yeah, thanks
Pretty
for coming
sick.
on the Some People Are Great podcast, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Nice, nice.
That's a Habibi twist at the end.
Yeah, it
Do
was
you want to end it
optimistic,
now, or
man.
do you guys want to keep going and I can peace?
I got stuff I got to do
Okay.
too because I like planned it
Yeah,
around
yeah,
your
yeah.
thing.
Okay. Well, I'm planning, you know.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, do you have any tattoos?
I do. I have like a super cringy jiu-jitsu tattoo across my chest.
Sick.
Yeah,
What-
dude.
what is
I
it
got the
called?
belt ranks.
You got a
Um,
heartbeat thing? What is that?
Oh,
It's a city.
I have the
Right?
no. It says jiu-jitsu. It's like an EKG heartbeat line, but
Gotcha.
this is like it's typical girl tattoo. But
Is it colored?
it is colored. It's belt rank colored,
Ah.
white, blue, purple, brown, black. I got that just because I was born with a heart condition. I was actually like a super chunky kid, and I never did any sports growing up. I would like literally pass out in like recess. So I was that kid on a heart monitor, chilling off to the side, couldn't play. And my cardiologist told me I would just never be an athlete. And then I started doing martial arts, did karate.
Said bet.
Yeah.
I was like, bet, watch this. I mean, I'm
Watch
still
this.
not really much of an athlete. I'm a
Kujitsu,
jiu-jitsu athlete.
yeah.
Yeah,
I do
It's like the
kujitsu
lowest
now.
tier. Yeah, I do
Kujitsu.
ku karate.
Yeah.
So
Karate.
yeah, dude, I got my black belt in ku karate. Showed him what's up. Showed him I'm a true athlete.
Did you go back and beat his ass?
I mean,
Show
that
the
was the final
certificate.
test. Yeah,
That was how you got your black belt.
Yeah.
You know
to
what
face
you
my
do?
bully.
You pass
Yeah.
out, get into Kuzushi.
yeah. But yeah, that was the only tattoo I got. This is the first tattoo I got. I got them both at the same time.
At the same time?
Yeah, well, not two people doing the same time,
No,
but
I'm
like
saying,
in
like,
one session.
You got a double jujitsu tattoo at the same time.
Brother, I'm about it.
That's
Brother,
insane,
Kevin,
dude.
You-
That's
you-
insane.
You might be battling him for that title.
That's insane.
that
I mean-
TOT.
I mean, honestly, I was just going through a bad breakup, and I was like, you know what'll do it? What'll fix it? I should get a tattoo
Double
across my chest.
jujitsu
Two jiu-jitsu tats in the
That'll
same
fix
day.
it. I was
want
still
people to
heartbroken.
know,
Didn't
if,
work.
If they only
That's
get to see one titty,
crazy.
I'm letting them know I got a second titty
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
true. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta have both of them covered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get
so
it.
I immediately, like, the moment he touched my chest, I was like, I fucked up. This hurts
Oh,
so bad.
no.
I wanted him to stop
Brother,
right there.
So much fire in the middle.
Yeah, dude. That was the. Ooh, sorry. I got the little spider on my chest. That was like the worst part. That hurt really bad.
Fuck that.
But
Fuck all
yeah,
that.
that was the only tattoo I got.
Well,
Never.
we
never
know a
did
guy
again.
that can fix that tattoo and cover it up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get you a third jujitsu tattoo if
Yeah.
you need one.
I should get.
Just in case people can't see it from behind, maybe you get 2 on your back.
yeah, I
get
should get
4.
more jujitsu tattoos.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why stop at 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could get your karate tattoo
I
thing.
should get a karate black belt tattoo.
You should get everything on you.
Yeah.
Your whole lineage, you just have like a postcard on the back, and then it just has everything from the date and the year,
Yeah.
when you got it.
You know what's funny about the
locations.
karate black belt story? I didn't actually get my black belt. I found a loophole. The head coach, he was like closing down for business, so he just really didn't care at this point. And I was like, because the black belt test was like $300, and my parents were not going to fork that over. And I was like, can I just take the test, and if I pass, I can just call myself a black belt? And he was like, sure. So I just took the test, and like, dude, it's like a crazy test. You have to like fight 3 people coming at you with shields type of thing, like a weird self-defense
Wow.
course. And yeah, dude,
Damn.
got my karate black belt
That's wild.
Wild shit.
in one day,
Wild shit,
in
dude.
one class.
All right. Well, I never
All right.
got into karate or taekwondo or crujitsu or none of them other things. There's so many fucking martial arts out there.
You can just make up
Mm-hmm.
martial art. I
Dude,
found
people
one that was
say
called-
stuff, and like it's people I respect. They'll say a thing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Damn, that's another thing I don't know.
I signed up for.
I don't even know.
Almost
what that
signed up
is.
for a martial arts gym, and they called it cookie dough. And it was called cookie dough because they mixed like 3 or 4 martial arts together. One of them was Hapkido. And I had to go home and like look up Hapkido, and I was like, well, Hapkido is kind of crazy. And then I was like, if they're mixing Hapkido with other stuff, like, what's this gonna look like? So I didn't sign up. If you could,
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
With
Well, I didn't want to
like
get a black
cookie
belt
dough.
in cookie dough.
Yeah.
It's not really like intimidating.
No,
people
it's
at
kind of
Hooters.
I'm a
sick.
cookie
though.
dough
Sounds
black
delicious.
belt.
Yeah.
That's kind of sick though. Yeah, imagine doing that and then
Cookie
opening
dough
a
black belt.
bakery.
Yeah.
That'd be tight.
Yeah, wrong certificate, but
Yeah, it
right enough,
works.
I guess.
It'll work.
It would definitely work out. Well, Johnny Mumbles at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio can get you right with the jiu-jitsu tattoos.
Good to know, dude.
You know, like if you're trying to get more work done, I'm about to get a dope ass thigh piece from him. He needs to finish his sleeve off.
Yeah, I gotta finish all this shit up.
But he also has like international people coming through. He just had this lady from Australia. He's had a few people from like I think Canada in there. But his studio's super gorgeous. It's right downtown. If you guys are looking to get tattoos, hit him up at Johnny Mumbles on Instagram or at Sacred Grounds Tattoo Studio. But speaking of jiu-jitsu, Kuzushi Club Pensacola, if you are down, this will air after the team training. But if you want to come to any open mat on Saturdays, you can come through Kuzushi Club Pensacola. It is right off of Cervantes. It's right next to the Domino's on Cervantes, across from Running Wild. It's like catty corner to that, next to that Circle K as well. And it's going to be a room full of killers. It's free on Saturday mornings, open mat, and it's like a good cross section of like all the jiu-jitsu in town. There's a bunch of gyms that always come through and visit and cross train. But you're also going to have like OGs like Pat. You'll have people from all of our gyms really there. But I highly suggest that if you want to come check it out and then maybe try out a week or two, you will not regret it. If they're not in Pensacola.
Panacea Martial Arts, baby.
Yeah.
That is Tony Rayborn's gym out in Foley. It's a great gym over there, a huge gym. If you've got friends or kids or something that are looking to get into jiu-jitsu, they have a huge... If you have friends with kids, if you've got friends with kids or you have kids looking to get into jiu-jitsu, they have
or
a
you
huge...
like being around
That's no,
friends.
nope. Stop
You
that.
like being
stop,
around friends.
stop that, brother.
All right.
They have a huge.
Have a seat.
They have a huge.
Explain these chats to me.
Yeah,
Take a seat.
they have a huge kids program over there. And if you're over there for classes on Wednesday night, you'll run into Rich Shimleski, who is the owner of A Lifestyle Experiment.
That's right.
They actually just dropped their pre-sale for their gis, I believe. Right?
Yes, and it's going to be that, like, original OG graphic.
The ALE graphic.
sir.
So, yeah, they dropped 3 colorways. Is that right?
Blue, white, and black.
Yeah.
All competition colors.
Yeah. And they're...
What's a gi?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Brother, it's like a pajama pants.
Yeah, it's pretty
A
sick.
kimono. Okay.
But yeah, they're also doing a giveaway too. I just saw also. So if you want to go check out their Instagram, it's at A Lifestyle Experiment, or you can check them out online at alefl.com. You can sign up for their email subscription program, so you know when all this stuff is getting dropped. And like I said, pre-sale and stuff. So definitely check them out. They do gis, no-gi, rash guards, and shorts, T-shirts, all different kinds of shit. So definitely check them out. And yeah, that's about it, dog.
Yeah, we can't thank you guys enough for coming in.
Yeah, bro.
Pat, I don't know if
Thank
this
y'all.
is your second or third time.
This is my second time on here.
Really? I thought you were on more than once.
Oh, it's third, isn't it?
I think it's second. I think I've only been here twice. I think so.
I think I've only been here
We gotta
twice.
go through the archives. one
I
more
thought
time,
it was 3
but-
times, but
Look,
maybe
I know
not.
I made a picture that was South Park once, but I thought
Yeah.
I made 2.
I can't remember. I don't
That's
know.
where your name comes from, right? Daywalker?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
you never told me that story.
That's it.
I thought his last name was Daywalker too. I was listening to that podcast.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I thought it was your last name. I thought it was your last name,
100%.
too.
100%.
I just thought, badass, met him.
Yeah.
Daywalker fits.
I was like, yeah, he has
He has like a
a cool name energy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all are too
Cool
kind.
name,
Yeah.
energy. Hell yeah. Well, good shit. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. We really appreciate it.
Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We're getting the fuck up out of here. We love you. Yee, yee.
Yee, yee.